everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Love and Light Show, where your special guest is Rebecca, and we're talking about how you can reconnect to your divine feminine and your pleasure. And I'm so excited to get deeper into this topic today. We're talking about how you can reconnect to your body, to your intuition, and to your pleasure. And Rebecca's going to lead us in a beautiful grounding and womb meditation at the end. So definitely stay to the entire end and get that beautiful, energy and connection into yourself. And I've started to do some more womb meditations and things, and it is really powerful and really expansive, I feel, for the wisdom and things that come up in it and things that you can reconnect to yourself even deeper. So I'm super excited for this episode, and I'm so excited to share it with you guys. Rebecca is a divine feminine coach that supports powerful women in reconnecting to their bodies, intuition, and natural magnetism. So I'm so excited for having you on today, Rebecca. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Laura. It's really a pleasure. And I love everything you do as well. And thanks for the great introduction.
Thank you. You're welcome. And you guys are watching the Love and Light Show, where every Wednesday and Friday we bring you different light workers and healers and heart-centered entrepreneurs at 1 Atlantic, 12 Eastern, 9 Pacific to support you on your healing journey. So you can get different tips and tricks and lessons and modalities that will support you on your healing journey so you can be the best version of yourself first and foremost and show up to be that change that you want to see in the world for everyone in your household, in your community, in the world, so we can all be that change together. And I'm Laura McPhee. I'm a joyful goddess, speaker, healer, and coach, and I love empowering women to get to their dream lives now so they can unconditionally love themselves, that they can serve the world and themselves from an overflowing cup, and that they can clear, release, and let go of the subconscious blocks and limiting beliefs that have been holding them back so that they can step forward into their dream lives now and not wait for it to someday happen down the line. And I also love helping women clear, release, and let go of their sexual wounds and traumas so that they can be sexually empowered and claim their pleasure as well. So I'm so excited to dive deep into this conversation today. And I'm also hosting a 5-day mini challenge / mini training on September 30th for that entire week in my free Soul Sisterhood community called Bliss. So I'll be sure to put a comment in about how to join below. It's only for women, said it is like a sacred safe space container, and we're going to go into deep things. I'm also going to put links to Zoom calls because we're going to do some stuff that's a little bit too sexy for social media. So it's going to be like a beautiful container of just us having awesome, really high vibe conversations about how you can tap into your pleasure even more and own your power and awesome good stuff. So if you're very intrigued by that, definitely go to the comment afterwards and we'll get you in that group. And I'll definitely say hi to the people popping on live. We have some people on live and we can't see you until you say hi to us. We're on the Be Live platform, so your name just doesn't pop up, but we love to engage with you live and after the show. So Holly did say hi. She's saying, hello, ladies. I hope you're having a beautiful day, Holly. And today we're going to talk about all the awesome things about divine feminine. So let's jump right into it. And Rebecca, how do you help women reconnect to their body?
So I'll start by explaining what the divine feminine is, because for some that's a new concept. So I went to Brazil to teach high school 3 years ago, and I signed up for a retreat on a whim. And it was incredible. And I met a female shaman there. We did a circle to release anything that was holding us back. And I had a lot of anger in me at that time. And it came from living in my masculine energy 100%. So all of us have feminine and masculine within us. It's the yin and the yang. So that symbol from the 90s actually has a much deeper symbolism.
Yes.
So when we have a balance, there's a lot more harmony in our life. But when we're living only from one side, the other side is rejected. And that's when imbalance and a lot of tension and problems set in. So by living in only my masculine side, it means that I was only making decisions based on logic, that I was forcing things. When they didn't work out for me, I'd get very upset and try to control the outcome rather than flow, which is a feminine quality of letting things come and go and trusting in the process. The universe puts roadblocks up for our evolution and growth. So when we understand that, we can flow so much easier. And then the opposite of logic is intuition. And so it's not rejecting logic, but it's embracing intuition so that we're doing both in our life. And so that feminine quality of intuition, when I started working on my feminine side because of the advice of the shaman, I was able to reclaim the relationship with my intuition. And as children, we're all born fully connected to our authenticity and our intuition. But the way we're conditioned and raised and put in school and taught, we get disconnected from our natural voice inside us and that feeling of what to do in a situation. So it's so important for men and women to reconnect to their feminine qualities, their divine feminine. So it's not gender-based at all. It's within us all. And when I learned how to always think that men were more powerful, because we are in a patriarchy and taught. And so it's not like we have to remember that like there's a great power in being nurturing, soft, vulnerable, surrendering. There's great power in that too. It's not all about force and aggressivity and winning that way. There's many wins in the other way as well. And so that's actually something that I see in feminism is like the fight for rights is masculine energy. Whereas this is where I want to get to the divine feminine and how to reconnect to our bodies and why it's so important. Having, like that reconnection to the feminine, if we're fighting on a global level as a feminist to have it, we're not going to achieve it because we're meeting the masculine with the same masculine energy. So the only way to find it on a global level is to start within, start with ourselves. Because when we have that connection to our own body, we can read our own signs. We know when we're close to a burnout and it's time to take a rest, and we respect our body and we listen. That's when we're reconnecting and we're nurturing ourselves again. And we're listening to our intuition before we get sick or we have pain. So sickness and pain are ways that our bodies speak to us. It's a messenger. So are emotional blocks, like anxiety and up to depression. It's a messenger. It's telling you something. There's something you're dissatisfied with in your life. And it's become so clear and there's been no change that now it's becoming really chaotic emotionally. Same with the pain and like the physical body. So we have 7 chakras. There's actually more chakras, but those are the ones we work with in Reiki. And so some of the work that I do is finding out which chakra is speaking to you, what it represents, and how to give that place loving attention and positive affirmations to reprogram your cells so that they know that they're heard. Like really, our bodies speak to us. I'll give a personal example. Last year, I had some tests done and I had some abnormal cells in my cervix for quite a few years. And last year, the results came up as precancerous. And so the suggestion from the doctor at the hospital was to take like a small cut of the cervix and like basically shed off like the external, like the first and second and third layer of the cervix. So like it's microscopical, like it's like a small thing and there's some bleeding involved and some cramping and they said it wasn't a big deal at all and that within 7 days everything would be fine. But like my intuition was screaming at me and I was like, no, that does not feel right for me. So I did some research and I saw that like there is a possible of scar tissue building there, which makes sense. And that could be hard for childbirth in future because your cervix will be scarred and that cervix has to open 10 centimeters for a baby to come out. And I want another child. I've had one, I'd like a second. So that just seemed like definite no. And I knew why my intuition had been telling me like, no, this doesn't feel right for me. I switched doctors. I switched to a female doctor. I felt more comfortable with her. And I also got really amazing Reiki done with someone that I love, Donna Somerville. And then I was reading Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. And she had cervical cancer because of sexual abuse as a child that she experienced. For me, I had to ask myself, like I followed her advice and her affirmations about like, I love my body. I love my femaleness. I'm hearing my uterus. What does it want to tell me? And I realized like I was rejecting my femaleness. I was a new mom and I was finding like I was frustrated that all of the tasks were falling upon my shoulders. I was thinking in a really masculine, logical way of like, this is just too much for me. And I just wanted my life back in a way. And I was rejecting that I had to become a mother in a way. There was so much more to that. There was also I've always felt like I was competing with men my whole life and that I always had to be better than them. And I grew up with brothers, and at school, I was really good. I had great grades, and the other people competing with me were always guys. It was always me and the guys. And
this is my life story too.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
I would win at chess competitions, and I was always the only girl there. It's been it's always been proven to me that I always had to fight my way to be as good as the guy. So this was a time to accept my femaleness and accept that life was I was a mother now, and it was a different vibration and a different pace. And that everything was perfect as it was, and to really embrace everything. And I did my positive affirmations. I got my Reiki, and a month later I got a PAP, and it was negative, which means it was perfectly 100% healthy PAP.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes. So I didn't get the procedure, and I really reconnected with my womb. And that is the place that's spoken to me the most in my whole life. I've had a few other things happen there that I've also been able to heal. Miracles are very real. And instead of cutting away the problem or medicating the problem, it's really time for us as a society to speak with the the problem, get in touch with it. What is the message? What is happening for me? So reconnecting to the body is super important. Your body is always speaking to you. It always tells the truth, and the mind will make up many, many stories, but the body tells it as it is.
Yes. So true.
Yeah.
I love that. And Holly shared amen earlier. And Kathy jumped on with us. Hi, Kathy. Hope you're having a beautiful day. And literally, I love that story so much. And I can see where there's areas in myself still that I've rejected the feminine energy and rejected parts of being a woman versus being a man. And I'm currently working on having a painless period and doing a lot of things in my physical body to support that and being more in alignment and doing chiro and all these things to bring my body into alignment. And it's yep, I grew up with brothers. I was always top of my class, and all the other competition was guys. I'm like, oh my gosh. And that makes so much sense on an even deeper level of why there's still layers that I'm working on in this process, where it's I learned about feminine energy and how I was super hyper masculine in the corporate world and successful and all these things. I learned that at the very beginning of 2016. So this has been a journey. And I find that some women who are the high achievers, overachievers, want to switch it into this gear of let's just do the feminine thing, but they have so many layers of control, and it's not safe, and feminine's weak, and that's lazy, and all these different layers that I know I've personally unraveled.
Yeah.
I'm supporting women with. It's
safety is key with what you just said. I got goosebumps all up and down my arms. I think you can see it. And total confirmation that it is safe to be a woman. It is safe to be a powerful woman. And that reminds me of something I wanted to bring up, that in our not so far history for being authentic and in our power, women were killed. Burned at the stake. This is part of our ancestral lineage and our past life, our past life experience for those who believe in it. It's very real. It's living in our cells still. And it's a story of, if you're loud and out there and yourself and you do your magic, you will be killed for it. It's not safe. So I think the affirmation of it's safe to speak my truth. It's safe to share my gifts with the world. It's safe to be myself. Those are super important affirmations to say every single day to ourselves.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And Iona says, love this. Awesome. And Holly shared essential oils has helped my daughter with menstrual cycle pains. It's beautiful. Yeah, I have gotten into a ton of essential oils, so thank you for sharing. There's amazing things. And she also shared, yes, miracles are real.
Absolutely.
So true.
Yes. And with the menstruation, one of my earlier diagnoses was endometriosis. So extremely dysmenorrhea, extremely, extremely painful periods where I'd get a fever instantly. I'd have diarrhea. I couldn't walk. I'd be groaning and moaning, laying on the floor, in horrible pain and sweating. And so I actually did an ayahuasca ceremony in Brazil with that shaman. And that's where I healed from endometriosis. It helped me really see the problem face it. And I find now I'm very conscious of my cycles. And I know the guest you had last week was talking about this, and I really resonated. And it's like, that's the gift of being an entrepreneur and being in charge of your own time. And I think all women need that. We all need to be in charge of our cycle. When I get my period, I know it's a day off.
Yeah.
And not like, and I know a lot of us think that's weak, or sometimes we feel guilt about telling our boss, like, I need the day off. And we don't want to have to explain, or like, we're like, oh, it doesn't count as a sick day. Like, we need to honor ourselves in such a deeper way than that. And our body is our temple, and our womb is our wisdom. And like, so it's a time for rest. It just is.
Yes.
It's really the guided goddess meditation I'm going to do really talks about how the lunar cycles and the womb cycles are very connected, and how the new moon and the menstruation is a time for rest. And then the full moon and ovulation is an energizing time of creation.
Yes. And I've loved like having apps that support me in that. That was like a go-to when I started this journey. And now I can be like, holy crap, like so much stuff is coming through me today. Like I'm being like super productive and everything's just flowing, and I'm getting all these content and project ideas. And then I'm like, oh yeah, my phone's reminding me that I'm fertile right now. It's like, yep, like
yes,
I know.
yes, totally. Absolutely. Yeah, it's amazing. And like, I think just that we just need to understand, like, be in sync with our body. And another place that shows up is in consent and early sexual experiences, because we're not taught at any point how to read our body signs. And so sometimes endometriosis is a way of the body saying no, but I have been saying sure. But I didn't really want to, or I was convincing myself in my head. Right. I did that a lot as a young 20-year-old woman. Not sure what I really wanted sexually or in relationships, but just doing what I thought society was normal for society, rather than your body is very clearly speaking to you if you're aroused or not, if you're attracted to someone or not, if you want to have sex or not. So I think it's really important for us now as women, like I'm 34, and I think all of us need to learn to reconnect to our bodies. And imagine if our younger generations knew that since they were 10. Yeah. Like, wow, that would be my dream for girls and boys to know, like, to just have their inner knowing very intact and know, like, this is a yes for me and this is a no for me, and being able to safely and clearly speak their voice on what they want.
And I know that that's a real possibility. Like that's such a huge part of my vision, is that by sharing this with women, by really owning it, like we are the mothers of the planet. If we just decided that we're going to love ourselves and take care of ourselves and have these really strong, powerful boundaries and showcase it through like leading by example, it would change the whole world in a generation. Being like, I'm going to have this as embodied. It'll be the only way that my children know.
You just made me think of something. Like, imagine if women who are having a hard time loving themselves because they're like, I'm not worth it, or, you know, it's selfish to take care of myself, because I hear that a lot from clients. What if they thought of it as a global responsibility so that our future generations are like empowered? Then I feel they would do it. Like, so the best way to teach your daughters is to take care of yourself and show them by example.
100%. And the big thing that helps with moms who have that around, I don't want to be selfish, I'm taking more time away from my kids, is to be like, if you're only loving yourself at 30% right now, you can't give what you don't have.
Exactly.
So if you're only loving yourself at 30%, you can only love another person at 30%. So don't you deserve this? Don't your kids deserve this? To double it, to triple it?
Totally.
And then they're like, okay, I'm on board. I'll do it for my kids. I'll do it for my husband. And then it begins this leverage of they can get to a place where they are doing it just for themselves. But at the beginning stages of it's so selfish. It's like, I can't, I've been a caregiver. And I wasn't even a mom when I started this journey, but I was still like, I can't take time away from the family responsibilities. I had a big, like, I'm my family savior. I do these things. So I totally resonate with that. It was super selfish for me to start seeing people and getting help and going on programs. So it was helpful at the start for even my mentors being like, you're doing this for everyone. Like by you shifting, everyone else is going to shift. And I didn't really totally understand it at the time, but time after time after time, whenever I change, my entire world around me changes. Like people who I had no idea would ever get help or learn about things would be like, oh shit, like Laura's changing her life. I want some of that. And they find their own next steps, or they come to me and ask for a book or a recommendation.
Totally. And you like, this is amazing because it's connecting to the next thing, like natural magnetism. So what you did is you reconnected to your essence, like who
Mhm.
you are and your truth and what Laura wants in life and what you need, and not what society wants or what your parents' expectations are of you. And
Mhm.
so that when you like, you now, after doing all this work and like cleaning out your closets of
Mhm.
old beliefs and limitations, doing things for others, sacrificing yourself, like all
Mhm.
that takes away from your natural magnetism. And
Mhm.
when you're reconnected with yourself and who you truly are, and you are
Yes.
aligned with your values and your actions are completely connected to things that your heart desires and
Mhm.
not just for money. A lot of people just make decisions their whole life just because they need money. Well, you're only going to ever have enough, or you're
Mhm.
not going to be happy.
Mhm.
Then like, so for women who are looking for a relationship, or they're looking for something more from life, because it could even be they want a better house, you have to vibrate at the same level as the house you want. You have to vibrate at the same level as the partner you want.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you aren't going to attract them. You're not on their radar if you're low vibration because you're in a job that you hate,
Yep.
or you're making no time for yourself. That's a low vibration. You're exhausted. You're not feeling full of life. And so I took a tantra course at like a couple months before I met my twin flame. And I
Mhm.
was like actively like, I am ready for love. Like I want it. And I
Mhm.
realized I had to do a lot of work on myself before I could like vibrate at the level of, I wanted someone who took care of themselves. I wanted someone who's happy in their career. So I had to take care of myself. I had to be happy in my career.
Yes.
Um, yes. And so that's actually something I want to bring up too is like often women will talk about how, or all of us would like longer foreplay or more time to connect with ourselves before sex with our partners. And we would like to demand that from our men or women.
Mhm.
What you actually have to do is start with yourself. Like, are you taking time to connect with yourself, even if
Yeah.
it's just featherlight touch or
Mhm.
embracing yourself, touching your body, loving it, sending it love and good vibrations, and
Mhm.
potentially having some one-on-one exploration time with your yoni
Mhm.
vagina. Like we don't make time for ourselves. So why are we putting out the demands that like we need to have, there has to be time? Like we need to understand our body and know how we find arousal and not put any pressure on it. This is not always about reaching the destination of orgasm.
Yes.
And like, anytime you trek a mountain, I feel like the whole journey is just as important as the end. So
Mhm.
I think we are losing sight sometimes, and we're putting a lot of pressure on having an orgasm. And I think like we really need to spend time with our bodies and just love
Yes.
ourselves.
I love that you shared that. I was literally talking about that to a friend last night. It's like, yeah, you need to be loving yourself in the way that you want to be loved.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like just going to it to like get a 2-minute orgasm just to be like, I got off, like,
Yeah.
then you can't really get angry if you're attracting that in other people. Like, you have to take time for
Yes.
yourself and get in the mood and like treat it like such important time instead of just like, oh, I have to do this thing, or I'm
Yeah.
kind of turned on right now, I should probably take care of it. It's like that's
Yeah.
such a
Yes.
lower vibration energy, like you're talking, instead
Yeah.
of being like, yeah, I love me. I want to like connect to my body and do breast massage or
Yes.
like do whatever is turning you on in the
Yeah.
moment and play with it and
Yeah.
enjoy it and bring pleasure to it. And then that's how you're going to just have a standard of life. Because it's
Absolutely.
so interesting. That used to be my big problem, like years and years ago, was that I'd want more foreplay, I'd want to make out more, I'd want to do stuff more, but it was very like result oriented. And that was when
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't orgasming by myself or with a partner. So it was like super frustrating for me that I wasn't even getting the pieces that I wanted for as long as I wanted. And it was a huge shift taking orgasm off the table, like having no result, just like playfulness. And then a lot more orgasms came. And I don't have that problem with partners anymore, where it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, we're going to do foreplay because, of course.
Yeah,
It's
of
not like
course.
I have to ask for it, or
No.
like they're so willing and generous versus what I was attracting before.
Yeah, and that speaks to what you feel you deserve now too.
Yes,
Yes.
100%.
And your ability to receive, because
Yes.
the ability to receive is a feminine quality and giving is a masculine quality. And a lot of us get stuck in giving, and that makes us feel like we're a good person. But really, when we block people giving to us by saying no thank you to a compliment, or no, I can't take that, we're not allowing them the energy to flow. And
Yeah.
like when we block, and we're not allowing them to feel the joy of giving to us, if someone
Yes.
offers you something, like, why would you say no?
Mhm.
So receiving is so important, and that's part of surrender.
Yeah.
Surrender to receiving without an agenda, without expectations.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it is so powerful because it also flows in every other area of your life. Like I used to totally like reject compliments and be like, yeah, like we don't really need to spend time here. Like I need to get back to giving to you so that I'm valuable, so that I get worth, so that you're feeling like, oh, I'm an awesome girlfriend. But it's very, very interesting because I went like deep with a friend in a conversation last night and we were bringing up all these things. And it's like things that I've started to just know. It's still so brand new to other people. And I take for granted some of that sometimes. But the thing that just came up and I'm like, it came through and then it's leaving. So I just want to like, okay, the receiving that it can be really amazing to play with it in the bedroom because sometimes women have gotten to the point where they've done so much work and inner child work and shadow work and
Mm-hmm.
crying about like a dear dad letter and like all this deep work and they're just like kind of done with it. And I'm like, you can play with it in sexual ways. Like, I'm not going to say all the things that will not be in good community standards for Facebook, but the thing that I'm doing for the 5 days is about how you can play with receiving more because if you're like frustrated in your business because you're like hitting the ceiling of money, you're not going to receive from the universe. Like if you're not going to receive from your partner for more than 5 minutes or 10 minutes, there's going to be a big gap in your ability to receive support and really just have this deep faith and surrender that you're going to be supported and that you deserve to be supported and nourished in these ways. So it's
Absolutely.
super fun to play with those things in the bedroom and it gives you a ton of pleasure and then it's like, oh, these other things are just shifting themselves now because you've
Yeah.
shifted it within yourself in a
Yeah.
really fun, exciting, pleasurable way.
Exactly. What a perfect place to practice. And like
Yes.
with
Oh,
someone that you trust.
yes. Oh, I love
Another
that.
thing I wanted to add to that is when you're doing your one-on-one goddess time,
Mhm.
like this to everyone listening, I recommend like what tap into the sense that you most love. Like some people like love the smell of a vanilla candle, so light a candle or burn incense. And if
Mhm.
you like really love music and it gets you in the mood, place yourself some music. And if you need the
Mhm.
lights low and you need like the heat on, I'm a
Mhm.
cold person. I need to be warm to be
Yes.
comfortable. Like, do all the things to set the mood.
Mhm.
Even like, blindfold yourself and smell some chocolate if that's going to arouse you. Some people it does. Like, chocolate's amazing. So is
Chocolate's so
coffee.
good.
Smell all of it. Like anything that just makes you feel like, pleasure does not have to be just clitoris, vagina. Pleasure is eating a meal slowly,
Mm,
savoring it, smelling it, looking at it, being present. Pleasure can be stepping outside and feeling the sun on your face and just taking a big breath and being present in that moment of, I'm
yeah.
alive and it's sunny today. So I
Mm,
think like living pleasurably is really important if you want to feel the pleasure in the bedroom, because it's not like sometimes there's pleasure and sometimes there's not. Pleasure can be in all aspects of our life.
mhm. So
Mm.
true. I love this. I'm getting lots of comments. So this conversation is super powerful and yay to tantra and longer foreplay. I've got the most amazing man I've been doing. Oop, it went down. I've
Yay! I need to clap for that.
Yay!
Woo!
Awesome. And Andrew joined us and he said, hey Laura, thanks for the intro to Rebecca. Awesome. We got lots of yeses. And this message needs to be shared with our children 100%. And you guys can share this
Absolutely.
out to everyone on your wall or take the
Yeah.
like, link and privately to a best friend who needs this message. I definitely encourage you guys to share it with those that you love.
Yeah. I'm actually like another little thing I do is I'm creating a TV series on
Ooh.
mental wellness, consent, healthy boundaries for children. And we do it like in a middle school setting and we use puppets too. Like the kids have a puppet club at school. So we're currently pitching to broadcasters. So yes, like I'm really passionate about teaching um,
Yay.
healthy sexuality to children, but in language and appropriate like subjects for them, like consent about hugging and things like that. Like there's a way to speak to kids that's not just sex ed with a banana. You know, like there's so much more depth to it. So I'm super passionate about that. And yeah, working on content for kids.
Oh my God, I love that so much. And especially because I was molested as a child and had a ton of work to do on healing those things.
Yeah.
Like if anyone had just had conversations with me,
Yes.
like, and other moms who've heard my story have been like, okay, how can I approach this to my children? And hearing their feedback of being like, you're never wrong. Like you can always come to me with like anything that happens, and like no one else has to have secrets aren't important, and like don't do anything for treats or for puppies or
Yeah.
candy or for all these things, because if we don't, we leave them very vulnerable
Yes.
to negativity that still exists in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. And like that trust between the parent and the child is key. And also knowledge, just knowing that they're allowed to say no and like helping them reconnect to their body and their voice at all times.
Yes. Oh, I love that so much. And I do want to bring up Kathy's comment. So she said, even a PAP is traumatizing to our chakra systems,
Totally.
our sacral. In the past, women cared for women. In the past 100 years, our bodies have been violated
By
by
male.
male and oh yeah, it's up on the screen in really small letters, and then
Oh,
mine I have to scroll down. But thank you, by male insensitive doctors. Yeah.
I agree with
Thank you for
that.
sharing.
I like when one of the first doctors I went to, he cut me with the metal prongs. I don't know what they're called, and I didn't realize it at the time. But I was actually on my period, so I was much more sensitive, and like I thought I had an STI, and I was freaking out because it hurt when I peed, and then I finally figured out it was a small cut.
Oh.
And then it healed on its own. It was fine. And I told him this 6 months later, and he said, I highly doubt that was me. So there's like an insensitivity for sure. And it was kind of like shooing off that he could ever be responsible for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really unfortunate.
So I started bringing my plastic duck bills for PAPs. And like, honestly, like I just, as she commented, like, I don't want to put my body through more like regular routine PAPs are just not interesting to me anymore. I'm very connected to myself and I'm really aware of when something's up and when everything's good. And I'm learning that with my child too. I have a 1.5-year-old, so I'm learning like, you know, routine doctor checkups, like they're not necessary. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. It's so powerful to like connect to our bodies in a way where we know what's good or not.
Mm-hmm.
And the deeper you connect with your intuition, the more you trust it, the more you follow it, and like instead of suppressing it down and being like, oh no, I don't need a nap right now, I totally want to still do these 3 other commitments that I have for this weekend. It's like
Yeah.
the more you trust it, the louder it'll be, and then it won't have to scream through alarm clocks of physical pain.
Yeah, absolutely. Or like sadness or like feeling so stuck. And I think that what a big part of that is feeling that you're worried about what others think of you, or like being so worried about hurting someone's feelings, and all your energy is going out of you and onto someone else, and you can never know what's best for someone else. And so stop trying to know what's best for them, you know, like do what's best for you, and it'll like be a wave that goes over everybody involved. Like when you start with you, like I promise you're helping others too. And so if you need to cancel your movie date to take care of yourself, you have to. It's your responsibility. Your body is your temple.
Yes. And as you shift, you'll get the people in your life who fully support you in those decisions.
Yes.
So I've
Oh,
had
yeah.
incredible like soul sister friends who it's like, yeah, it's like I've had a long day. I'm gonna actually like stay home and have a nap and then have a really awesome bath. And it's like, awesome, go do you. And trusting that flow is like, cool, then I'll explore what's the next best thing for me. And I've gone on like solar dinner dates by myself because I'm like, well, I still feel really called to do this. And we can have fun solo, we can have fun with our partners, like we can have fun with our friends, and we don't have to rely on other people. You don't have
Yeah.
to be like, but I was planning on this thing with
Yes.
you and now my night's
Yes.
ruined.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you take yourself out on dates, because
Thank you.
that is the best way to like have a romantic life without a partner, and then you attract
Mm,
it so much quicker
yes.
and easier. I love the word
Mhm.
effortless. I always ask like the universe, I wonder how I can effortlessly magnetize new new avenues of income, you know, a loving partner, not that I need one right now, I have one, but for anyone, you know, etc. Like, what do you want to effortlessly magnetize
Yeah.
and start living the life like you already have it? So
Mm,
awesome. I'm glad to hear that you do that.
thank you. And we could talk forever and ever, but let's get into that
Yes,
meditation.
absolutely.
So,
Okay. So I would ask everybody watching right now to sit comfortably and plant both feet firmly on the ground and close your eyes. So you'll start by taking in a deep breath. And as you breathe in, feel your ribs expand. And slowly exhale, becoming present in this moment and present in your body. Take another deep inhale in and feel your cells become energized. And as you exhale, exhale any tension or fatigue that's being held in your body. Become aware of your breath as you take another deeply nourishing breath into your body and slowly exhale. On your next breath, inhale positive, recharging energy. And as you exhale, release any stale energy. Inhale positive energy and become more energized with each breath you take. Exhale tension and fatigue. Exhale any worry. Inhale positive energy. And I'm going to ask you to become aware of your hands. Squeeze them tightly, scrunching each hand into fists. Clench the muscles in your palm as hard as you can and hold. Now release and relax your hands. Become aware of your face and squeeze it tightly, clenching the muscles in your cheeks. Your eyes shut tightly, clenching your whole face. Now release and relax your face. Become aware of your whole body and squeeze it tightly. Clench your stomach muscles, your glutes. Feel your shoulders clenched tightly together. Scrunch. Now release and relax your whole body. Visualize your feet solidly anchored on the earth and ground down, connecting with Pachamama, Mother Earth. Breathe the earth's energy in through your feet, up through your legs and hips, through your sacral chakra, and into your womb, the center from which you create everything in your life. Slowly exhale. On your next breath in, imagine a cleansing white light coming up from Mother Earth and in through your feet and body, filling your womb space with healing white energy. Imagine its glowing roundness, matching the fullness of the moon. The lunar cycles are directly connected to your female cycles. Honor the knowledge of your womb. She's so wise. As you exhale, release any tension from your womb. When the sky is in darkness at the new moon, it's a time for introspection, quiet, and rest. When the moon is full, it's a wonderfully energetic time for women, the perfect moment to be more expansive, social, and active. Just as Luna waxes and wanes, so do we. The emotional fluctuation of woman is natural and beautiful, something to be honored. When we flow with our emotional cycle instead of resist it, we become more attuned with our intuition, our psychic nature, the cosmos, and our own inner wisdom. Deeply inhale into your womb space and imagine that the white healing light you've been calling in transmutes into the power of fire, igniting life force energy within your womb. Slowly exhale. As the fire builds with each inhale, spreading an energetic orange glow through your whole body, begin to feel more and more vibrant. You can achieve and receive anything you choose. You are a powerful creatrix. Take one more cleansing breath into your womb, feeling that delicious fire you've built, that healing you've accessed, the beautiful female passion that lives in your womb center. And exhale slowly. Notice how your body feels. Turn your attention inward and observe your energy. You have lifted yourself into a state of higher vibration, which is an energetic state that effortlessly magnetizes your dreams and desires to you. It's a wonderful feeling to be so energized. Take one last purposeful inhale and thank your beautiful body for supporting you. Feel the deep gratitude for your amazing womb and her divine power. And thank yourself for taking some time to yourself to honor and love yourself. Slowly wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and when you feel ready, open your eyes and embrace the rest of the day with loving kindness.
Mm. It's beautiful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And I would love for you guys to share in the comments how that was for you. Oh, yeah, I definitely feel higher vibration. Grounding back in.
For those wondering like how to reconnect to their intuition and their divine feminine, I think taking some time to visualize a reconnection with your womb center and with Mother Earth, and just a couple minutes a day, just close your eyes and visualize that connection. And I also offer this guided meditation recorded. So if you want this exact one, you can reach out to me. Beautiful. Otherwise, like there's some on YouTube, and just do something to feel the reconnection. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Right. I love that 100%. Yeah. So like calming and grounding and just flowy and super beautiful. I love that. Whenever I do like deeper meditations into myself, I always want to go outside. Like I want to go and like ground and put my feet into the actual ground.
The shaman I met in Brazil told me that to reconnect to my divine feminine, she said, open your vagina to the earth, my dear. Yeah. So basically, like you can squat over the ground and just like visualize the reconnection.
Ooh, I love that so much. Definitely doing more feminine work. Like years ago, I started buying skirts and hearing about like in the olden days, women would like walk in their skirts and like lift it up when they're like walking through the fields, and they'd have more like fertile ground and more luscious crops and thriving seasons, because the world just knew how powerful. Like we create life, we bring the miracle of life into this world. It's such a powerful, deeply beautiful, like just power, energy. It's like it's hard to put into words sometimes, the
absolutely
energy that you feel. And once you get there, you're like, oh my gosh. But the human language, I feel, doesn't have enough adjectives to like really fully like lean into that power and that connection.
Yeah, I agree. I speak fluent Spanish and they have more words. English lacks, but even in Spanish, like it goes beyond words.
Definitely. Oh, I love this. So how can people connect with you after the show?
You can find me on my Facebook page, Divine Feminine Coaching with Rebecca.
Beautiful.
And I offer one-on-one coaching in person or by distance. And then if you live in Fredericton, New Brunswick, I'll be having a goddess circle on October 13th. It's the full moon, and it's an hour and a half ceremony. And I don't reveal what we're going to be doing until you arrive. And every goddess circle is a different activity. So that one's filling up fast, and it's only $20 per person. Beautiful. And you can find it on my Facebook page as well, or Eventbrite, Goddess Circle.
Awesome. Beautiful. And I would love for you to share those in the comments below too.
I will. Yes.
You can easily just click on it and find out all the awesome things. I wish that I was in Fredericton, and like I could technically drive, but driving at night with the whole like moose thing is still a thing. It's not my favorite thing of life. But yeah, I highly encourage you guys, especially if you're in Fredericton, take advantage of getting the in-person energy. It's so beautiful and so divine. And thank you so much for all this work that you're doing in the world, Rebecca. I am so grateful for all the work that you've done for yourself and now that you're sharing with other women. So thank you so much for showing up and shining your light.
Oh, thank you. And thanks for having me. And same to you. You're beautiful.
Thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in. We highly encourage you to share this out to all the people in your life that you love, your friends. Just post it on your wall so that people can just glance at it or tune in a little bit deeper if they're feeling called to, so that we can share more of these beautiful messages with the women in your lives that need it, that can reconnect to their divinity and their power and their pleasure and their intuition and their bodies, because it's so important for us to do. And it is that change. Like, shifting ourselves shifts the consciousness of the entire world. So it's so powerful for us to do this. It's so needed. And I'm sending you guys all so much love and light. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. Bye.
Bye.